No, I had a scratch on my arm. I needed to address that. No, I'm not looking at my watch. There's a clock right behind you, and I keep an eye on that. Yeah, I do. Not a minute over. No. That runs into my pee break, my coffee break. Well, hello, Bertha. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Miss Therapist.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
No, Miss Therapist would be better. We want to establish a counselor-client relationship.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
May I call you Bertha? Thank you. And what brings you in today, Bertha? How can I help you?
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
You don't have a date for Christmas.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
You have to go to the other grandparents' home, and you don't have a date.
I was wondering, does that dating...
And you've come to counseling for that.
I was wondering, does...
And your insurance is going to pay for that.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
Okay. Well, it's hard to believe that I went to school for so long and studied so hard for a bachelor's degree in whatever, a master's degree in counseling psychology. I studied additionally to get licensure, and you don't have a date.
I was wondering, does that dating site
Oh, you've tried an online dating site and you haven't found anybody that really meets your needs. I see.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice?
Okay, well, you're here and we'll see what we can do to help.
I was wondering...
I can't get you a date, of course. But I can certainly help you cope with your feelings about it. Perhaps we could work together to arrive at some additional ideas how you might come about it. How about if I were to say to you, it's okay for you to be alone?
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice?
I mean, it's okay. You don't have to be with anybody because you're a woman.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice?
Bertha, you don't have to get angry about that.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
That's not something to get angry about. If you disagree with something I've said, you are in a safe place and you are very free to tell me that you disagree.
I was wondering, does that...
Okay, I hear you. You disagree. Okay, well, we won't take that tactic then. So you're saying that you would like some ideas of how to get a date, and you say that you've been on one online dating site.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might better use their tool?
I was wondering,
Because your insurance company is paying for this visit.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might...
I see. Well, yes, let me just listen to you. You talk. I'm here to listen. And let's just do some talk therapy right now. That would be great.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might better use their tool?
Yes,
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any...
indeed.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors?
You don't say.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any...
Well, how about that?
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any...
I am listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. Yes. Yes, I will put the notepad down. Yes.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
Do you mind if I sip my coffee? I see you have a little latte there.
I was wondering, does that
you.
dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might...
Yes.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any...
Really? Oh, that ugly, huh? Oh, in your words, because that's not how I feel about men. I don't wish to objectify them one little bit. No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
I was wondering...
Yes.
I was wondering...
but it is okay for you to say they're ugly because you are okay and everything you say is okay and you are normal and just a perfect little ray of sunshine, aren't you? Yes. A gift to the world even. Yes.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might,
Oh. Do you need a tissue?
I was wondering, does that...
Well, I do.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
All right, so you were saying, Bertha, if I just pause you for a minute, I want to let you know that your session today is going to be 30 minutes long. I understand that doesn't seem like a lot of time. So with the company here, the self-care company, sessions were an hour, as you know, last year. And then a few months later, they went to 50 minutes. And the reason is we have to do our notes, right? And so I think it was a month after that, we went to 45 minutes so that we could do notes and take bathroom breaks. This is out of my hands. I understand that you feel you're paying for the full hour, but it's quite out of my hands. How did you get to 30? Well, sometime after that, it was like a week or two, it went to 40 because we were taking too long in the bathroom. So notes, bathroom is just, yeah. And 30, oh, I'm sorry, let me get to that. That's in the morning and the afternoon, we get a coffee break. And that's falling on your appointment. So I get the coffee break, note time, bathroom break. And so your appointment is 30. Next time it'll be 40, which includes everything except the coffee break. No, there's no discount. This is full price. You have to pay for good health care, right? Uh-huh. That's right. No, I had a scratch on my arm. I needed to address that. No, I'm not looking at my watch. There's a clock right behind you, and I keep an eye on that. Yeah, I do. Not a minute over. No. That runs into my pee break, my coffee break. Uh-huh. Really? Okay. Well, listen, excuse me, I want to, do you mind if I turn the weather on? I just need to check the weather real quick. You know, there's a storm coming and I just want to make sure I get out here and get home on time. I'm worried about you and driving. Yes, I'm worried about you too. This is for both of us. Okay, not till later. Very good, very good. Well, just go ahead, Bertha. I'm here for you. Is that right? Well, can you say more about that? Yes. You just say more, and I'm just gonna sit and listen. That's what I'm here for. I'm getting a little warm. Do you mind if I turn the fan on? Thank you. Whew, it's okay. No. Yes. Uh-huh. And he was too young, okay? And how do you define too young? What does too young mean to you? I would love to hear that.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
Yes, okay.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might better use their tools?
No, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I do a little chapstick? My lips are very dry.
I was wondering, does that dating site...
Yes, no, I apologize. I probably shouldn't have done that. And you say that he was a blonde and that's not your sort. Oh, I see. Oh, you have a sort. Oh, okay. All right.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice?
Yes.
I was wondering, does that...
No, do you want me to write notes down? Do you want me to write notes?
I was wondering, does that...
Sure. Yes. The sort. Not blonde. And you want me to remember this for the next session. Okay. Not too young. Not too old. I went went to school for so long.
And I was wondering, does that...
I'm sorry.
And I was wondering, does that...
I'm sorry. That's my stuff. And I don't need to bring that in here. It was very unprofessional of me to even be thinking about my education and all the hours I spent in school and the fortune that I still owe in student loans 40 years later.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice?
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
And I was wondering,
Go ahead. Please expound on that.
I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any? And I was wondering, does that dating site have? And I was wondering, does that dating site have?
Oh, I see. Do you mind if I real quick take my pulse and oxygen? You know, I do like to just make sure things are going well.
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice?
No. You keep talking. This isn't.
And I was wondering, does
Okay,
that dating
that's
site have?
good. I should take a deep breath.
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on how you might better use their tools? And I was wondering, does that...
Do you ever do that, deep breaths? You know, calm yourself down because you're getting kind of riled right now.
And I was wondering, does
You
that...
should take deep breaths. Shall we take them together?
And I was
I
wondering...
think I just got a little lightheaded. Okay. And what are you getting riled about?
And I was wondering, does
Oh,
that...
you feel I'm not listening to you.
And
I
was wondering...
apologize if something that I've done has made you feel that way.
And I was wondering...
I think what you're experiencing right now is transference. You're frustrated, perhaps about something in your life.
And I was wondering...
Perhaps you knew a man who didn't listen to you, and you are transferring that emotion onto me.
And I
Yes,
was wondering, does that...
it happens. I'm just, do you mind? I'm going to actually just real quick take my blood sugar. I'm feeling a little stressed out right now, a little jittery, and I'm wondering if my blood sugar's off. So you keep talking about what guy you don't like on what site. Yes.
I was wondering, does that dating site have...
Okay, and
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any...
strip in.
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any... And I was wondering, does that dating site...
Yeah. You like them to have their own money.
And
Yes, I certainly understand the desire to have a man who is self-sufficient. I do.
And I was wondering, does that...
No, that's not been a problem for me. I've been married for 100,000 years. I'm fine.
And
Thank
I
you.
was wondering, does that...
I've been married for 100,000 years to the same man. I met him when I was 12. We'll always be together. He's the only man I've ever known or loved or been with. And yeah, we're fine. I'm fine. He's fine. Everybody's happy. We've been together a long time. A long time.
And I was wondering, does that...
No, I apologize. That was a little bit of personal information I shouldn't have disclosed. I apologize. Again, need to keep it a little more professional, don't I? Yes,
Does that
yes.
dating site have counselors or any advice on how...
I would just like you to work on a few things between now and the next time I see you after the new year. You're saying that wasn't helpful for... You're saying that wasn't helpful for the immediate situation, what you call a crisis?
And I was wondering, does that dating site have...
What you call a
counselors or any
crisis?
advice on how... And I was wondering, does that
Let's
dating
see.
site have counselors or any advice
I am
on...
sorry. I am sorry about that. You are welcome to seek out another therapist if you don't feel that I'm
And I was
meeting
wondering,
your
does that
needs.
dating site have counselors
But
or any
you've
advice
got
on...
to put work into this too.
And I was wondering, does that
If
dating
you
site have
feel you
counselors?
didn't meet Mr. Right on that one site,
And I was wondering, does that
I
dating...
suggest, and again, it's not my place to make suggestions or to offer you advice,
And I was
but
wondering...
given that we're down to about 1 second left in
And
this
I was wondering,
session,
does that dating site have
I'm
counselors
just
or
going
any
to
advice
directly
on...
say, why don't you go to another site?
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or
Okay,
any advice
why
on...
don't you try that?
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on...
Here, home for dinner. Okay, I'm back. And
And I was wondering, does that dating site
another
have
no.
counselors or any advice on...
Bertha is going to, this is what we're going to work on. over the next 3 weeks. Bertha is going to go on to another dating site.
And I was wondering, does that
Okay. That sounds like a real plan. That's, oh yeah, okay, that's the end of our 30 minutes together.
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice? I was wondering, does that dating site
It
have...
was so nice to see you, and so nice to meet you, Bertha. I do hope I see you again soon.
And I was wondering, does that dating site have counselors or any advice on...